Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now? Does that sound any better? Let's see if that's actually working. So, I completely redid my studio. If you want to see a picture of what I see, you can look on my Twitter and you can find a picture of that. Um, so I completely redid this and rearranged monitors. I got a whole new monitor now. It's a 32-inch curved hog here in front of me. It's big. And so the way I have things layered up is I have my laptop here in front of me. You can see that sitting here. That's where I do all my work, right? Um, and then I have a 32-inch monitor sitting in front of me. I thought you'd like that, Rick. And so that's on like a floating monitor arm, so I can move it wherever I need to move it. So if I move it just a little bit, you can see I can block the picture. That's here in front of the camera. And then behind the camera, or behind this monitor, is the camera and the microphone. And then behind that camera is another monitor. And so the second monitor is for when I'm giving presentations and things. I want to be able to look right at the camera like I'm doing right now, but I need to be able to see what the slide you're seeing or any of that other kind of information. Like, I need to know what I'm supposed to be talking about, basically. And so for the times that I'm doing slides, that monitor will be super handy. But I could also use it as like a ticker. I could use it for a live Chatsino scoreboard, just stuff that other information that might want up there. It's kind of like a dashboard. So that is that's where we're at. Anyway, the reason that you guys couldn't hear me is because in all of the rearranging, I totally forgot to plug the microphone back in. So all I had to do was plug the wire back in. Speaking of microphones, you haven't seen this. I think I can bring it here in front. Yeah, there it's. I can bring it way out in front of me here. So a lot of people like to have their microphone like on screen. I don't like that at all. I want it just off screen, just like that, right? So it's as close to my mouth as I can get it, without actually showing it in picture, right? So it sounds really good, but you don't have I don't have mics all over me. A lot of people like have the desktop mic right here in front of them. I don't know. I don't like that. I also don't like wearing headphones the whole time. Although I think eventually I'm probably going to end up there once we get back to the chatbot and we want to start playing sound effects and having things happen on the screen. How do we know if we can hear you without seeing the mic? Totally agree, Rick. Totally agree. That's a good point. Maybe I should bring the microphone back in. I have like a hair that's standing up. Anyway, here we are. It's Monday. Mine is a directional mic, Gold Zulu, so it's pointing right at my face. And it's the Rode Podcaster. That's the microphone that I use. I also moved a bunch of my pop collection around this office. So the stuff behind me hasn't really changed a whole lot, although there are day to day, the people that are behind me do move around as I rearrange or whatever. Like we got a whole new one right here. That's Bill Nye the Science Guy. He just arrived this weekend. But there used to be more Star Wars characters right here, and those have moved. So I have this like across from me on the opposite side of this room, behind everything else. I have most of my Marvel collection, and also now my Star Wars collection. So they're like up on top of the bookshelf, and there's probably 100 of them up there. So I moved all of those. The Star Wars stuff used to be right above me. It used to be this whole section right here, which you also can't see. But I moved them over there, and now I have some space up here above me for moving some other ones. So I think eventually I can't get my hands right because this is flipped for me. But all of these here. Hey, Karthik, good morning. Thank you for the raid. Always good to see the gang from Karthik's channel. A lot of great people hanging out there. But this whole section behind me, like this bottom row right here, these are generally the ones that are worth the most money. So that's why that's there. But then like all of these, at some point I'll swap these out and change them so you guys can see some other ones. But it's a lot of work to move them all around, and I have a tendency to break them sometimes, so I'm trying not to do that. So Harshman, Pete Karthik. Actually, Harshman, interesting phrase about your name. When I went to college, I went to a college called Bowling Green, which is here in Ohio. The name of my freshman dorm was named Harshman. I know that has nothing to do with you, but fun thing to share. Anyway, we said we're going to do some blackjack today. So let's do some blackjack today. There's a few things that we started on Friday that I don't really like. So we're really just starting from scratch on all this. So let me flip over to this view. There we go. You can see the leaderboard. I'm currently hanging in 5th place. Looks like Gold Zulu and W Giorgio did some work over the weekend. Because I don't remember them having 20 million each, but maybe they did. Rick Herner with a subscription. Wow. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. And as just to remind everyone, any of the subscriptions or bits or any of the kind of donations that you can make here on this channel, all of this money is being donated to a scholarship that actually Rick was primarily responsible for getting started. I know I've mentioned it before. It's listed on my is listed in the stuff below my channel. Oh boy. So the thing that we really need to get focused on is how, like, the donations to this channel. So Stir Scholarship is something that we've been working on for well over a year, and in all of that time, Rick, can you tell us how much money have we given away to women that are heading into technology majors? I can't even remember the amount off the top of my head, but we'll be donating any of the money that comes to this channel to this scholarship. So $9,000 last year, and hopefully even more this year. 18,000, yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's get into it. We have everything working. I've been through this quite a little bit, but the thing that we really need is to think about how we're going to do blackjack, because this is one of the items on my list before we can go publish this thing, and we need to figure out how to build blackjack, I guess is the right way to think about this. So if I look at my test folder, I started a blackjack wager test, but what we really need is to think about how this is all going to work. So this is what I started writing, but this was basically copy and pasted code, and I don't really like it. Startup, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Good morning, or good evening to you, I guess. So my name is Harsh, and my surname is Mangukaya. Very, very cool. Well, Harsh Mangukaya, thank you for being here. But the name of my dorm was Harshman, so I think that's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, I'm excited about the scholarship also, and as soon as we actually get some money out of our account and into mine, we will be donating that for sure. There's a minimum I have to earn before they will give me any of the money, and so we're just waiting on that. All right, so it's time to write some blackjack. No, startup, no problem at all. No offense taken. You come when you can come, and I'm just happy that you're here today. So I completely understand. People are busy; they have work to do, and watching me and this nonsense, not always top priority for a lot of people. I totally understand that. Mangukaya. I think that's kind of what I said. Harsh Mangukaya. Thank you. Okay, so we started with this, but I don't really love it. So things that I want to do when we think about blackjack is I want to see if they have an active game first. That should be the very first thing that I check, because I don't care if their wager is valid or anything. If they don't have if they have an active game. So we need this to be blackjack. And this reminds me that I should check and make sure that our helper, this guy, knows the right ID for blackjack. So let's go get that out of the database. Let me fix one thing here. Okay, so if we look at our database, we have game types. And this is the only place that I've really had to do this, but we have to take our ID for blackjack and we need to bring that into our helper. I think I may have already done this. I have. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it was right. Because we passed this value around as an object value, but it makes it easier for me to just say, give me the blackjack value, rather than like hard coding that value around in my code. So that's why that exists there. So what we're doing is we're checking get games by user record ID, and we're checking to see if they have any active games. So I think get games, if we look at that, that's in our data. Get games by user record ID. Get games by user record ID is only looking for active games. So this only cares if we have an active game. Probably should rename this to be called get active games, but that's okay for now. So the first thing we do is say, do they have an active game? If they don't, if they do, then what we want to do is be like, hey, you already have an active game. Here's the current status of your game, right? So that's where we're going to take all of this. Let's just do this with some pseudocode so that I remember. So this is going to be don't make the bet. Tell the user about their current hand of blackjack. So that's what happens there. And then otherwise, then we want to check their wager and stuff like that. And so this is where we'll call in and we'll check their wager. And if their wager is valid, then make the wager and tell the user what their and the dealer's hands are. And that goes like that. Okay. Then once we're done with all of that, we need a this was an invalid wager return too. So let's take this. So this goes here, and we say else, and this is where we're going to pass back the user, the wager they wagered, our current status. This will be something that comes back and says, I'm sorry, you exceeded the minimum or the maximum, and I'm returning those values as well. So we'll have to, so check wager already does that for me. This is just returning a message back to the user to let them know that something's broken. So the rest of this was all video poker stuff, so let's just get rid of it. No, let's not get rid of it. Let's just comment it out. Because I'm going to need to borrow some of these ideas, but I don't want them running in my code. So we'll comment all of that out. And so now we're just living in this small little world right here. So let's say good morning to some more people. We've got Kevin Evans is here. We're going to do some cool stuff with controls coming up. Karthik said he's going to do a stream on it, which is very cool. Karthik, thanks so much for bringing people over here every morning. I really appreciate that. Locked In is here. I would say that's a very valid reason for wanting to just be called Karthik. That's quite a name. Veera Ranganathan Purandira Karthik Raghupathi. That's a name. That's a lot. Yeah, Locked In. We had to turn Give off for a little while. TeamView broke the world. He didn't actually break anything. It was just a bug that he found. But you could give yourself coins, and whatever you gave yourself, it didn't actually. You couldn't give yourself more than you had, but it wouldn't subtract from your balance. So you could give yourself 200. If you had 200,000, you could give yourself 200,000, and then all of a sudden you had 400,000. So thank you for letting me know about the pronunciation, though, Karthik. That's good. I'm not sure it was very good. It was as Americanized as you can get. But okay, so let's get right into this. Don't make the bet. I don't want to do that yet because we don't even have the ability to create a game yet. So if their wager is valid, we need to create the game, make the wager, and tell the user what their outcome is. So let's start with creating the game. So in here, I do this. I create this new game. This is I've made this pretty easy on myself. So we will do that first. And this is going to be helper.blackjack. And this creates a game. Okay, so that creates my game. The next thing that I need to do is create their wager. And the wager is very similar. So same idea. We create a game, and then we create our wager on that game. Okay. So those two pieces are done. Now we need to do the actual blackjacky stuff. And this is where it gets a little more interesting. I guess we're going to do single deck blackjack. I mean, I could certainly do more. A lot of times you'll see blackjack that is 6 decks or 10 decks. But I think single deck is fun because you're playing single deck against every hand. So it's not as if you're getting to wear that deck away. So for each game that you play, you get one single deck of blackjack, and you just work off the cards that happen to make their way to the top of the deck. All right, so let's talk about that. Video poker. I create a deck, and then we need to do some things. Now, with video poker, I'm only dealing to you. But with blackjack, you deal 1 to me, 1 to the dealer, 1 to me, 1 to the dealer. That's interesting. But I think we can still do it. What we'll do is take these 2 lines, and we'll just get 4 cards off the top of the deck. So we're going to create this deck. That's this line here. And then we're going to let our deal outcome. Take care, Karthik. Thanks for stopping by, man. Always appreciated. We're going to take the top 4 cards. Each game is a new deck, correct? So you'll always, every time you start a game of blackjack, you'll be given a brand new 52 card deck of cards. And we will just deal off the top of that deck, whatever you happen to get. But then when you start your next game of blackjack, it'll be a brand new 52 card deck of cards that has no influence or impact or thought about what happened previously. So I have a card deck, and now I have a deal outcome, which is the 4 cards. So I could do... I want spots 0 and 2 of the array to be the user, and I want spots 1 and 3 to be the dealer. So how do I do this here? I just say that this is the hand, but what I really want to do, there's probably a more elegant way to do this, but I'm going to do it the gross way. Deal the cards to the user and the dealer. So we're going to say and this is an array of objects. So let's create that. We're going to create let user hand equal an array, and we're going to let dealer hand, equal an array. Okay, so now we're going to deal the cards, and so user hand I guess I don't even need these. These are silly. Okay, so we can just say right here, let user hand. Take care, Harsh. Thanks for stopping by. This is going to be deal outcome dot hand 0, comma deal outcome dot hand 2, and then let dealer hand equal deal outcome dot hand 1. Corey Haynes, happy Monday is right. It's a good week. We're just getting started on this week, and it's going to be a good one. Deal outcome dot hand 3. So now we have our blackjack hands for not only the user but also for the dealer, and they are getting those alternating cards. So we'll figure out a better. Oh yeah, nice little 5K this morning. What was your time, Corey Haynes? Were you sub 20 minutes? Were you sub 30 minutes? My my best 5K time is about a 36, but I don't generally run the whole thing. But I think I'm on a mission, maybe by the spring, to break 30 minutes. I'm very broken right now. I have a bunch of back pain that is really limiting me from getting any kind of exercise. But I'm also, and I don't really like to share a lot of this news until I'm done. But I'm hoping you guys will notice before it's done. I started something called. Let's jump over. Let's do a little monologue. I started a thing called Bright Line Eating in the middle of September, like the 15th or the 17th. And the basic concept behind it, I think I've mentioned this on here before. The basic concept behind it is no sugar, no flour. So I can still have fruit. I can still have carbs. It's not like a keto diet or anything, but it's no sugar, no flour, and it treats it like an addiction, right? Like it treats it as if we are addicted to sugar and flour. So if you were addicted to alcohol, for example, it wouldn't be like, well, I could have a beer this weekend. Like it's no, it's absolutely no. You cannot have any. And I can still have things like sugar, though. It just has to be in the form of like fruit and other stuff. I can't have refined sugar in anything that I eat, and as well as flour. And it was something I tried because my wife had been doing it for 2 weeks, and she lost like 8 pounds, and I was like, man, that's amazing. Any flour. So Corey, the way that this is pitched, this Bright Line Eating program, is that you are addicted to sugar and flour. And so the reason that this happens, and the reason that we have like an outbreak of diabetes and all sorts of other issues with health in people, and this isn't very cult-like. It's just an opinion, and it's a strategy, and it's working. But if you think about the coca leaf, right? You find these leaves all over Colombia. People go there hiking and they'll chew on them, and they give you this really cool sensation in your mouth. But you're not addicted to them. You're not craving more, and it's not as if people are like trying to go back up in the mountains of Colombia just to get more of these leaves. Like it doesn't work like that. But if you take those leaves and you process them and you refine them down into a nice white powder, now you have yourself a very addictive drug that has dramatic impacts on the human body. And so the same argument kind of is made for same argument is made for sugar and flour. Naturally occurring sugars in the world, like things like if I went to go eat a piece of sugar cane, I can do that. That's naturally occurring sugar. It's when you talk about processed, refined sugar that you start to get yourself into trouble because it's a much more concentrated version of sugar. And the same goes for things like corn syrups and all of that kind of stuff. And the same goes for flour too, right? Like eating corn, eating wheat, fine. Eating it in a refined white powder, probably not as good. And so I wasn't sure if this would work for me, if I could like, because man, I love a good cheeseburger, and I love like breaded things and wings and stuff like that. An advertisement. This is not an advertisement. Anyway, so I've been on this now for 3 weeks. 3 weeks officially today. Tomorrow will be the beginning of the 4th week. And in 3 weeks of just eating vegetables and fruit and protein and some grains only in the morning, there's a very specific layout to how you eat. I have lost 13 pounds in 21 days. So that feels pretty good. I still have a long way to go to where I want to get. But if I can lose 13 pounds in 21 days, it does feel good. It feels better for me. And I actually think the reason that I'm doing this is because of my back. like I'm in a lot of pain, lower back pain, some thinning discs between vertebra, and having less weight hanging on those vertebrae should help. In addition to the physical therapy and the other stuff that I'm doing, so that was my motivation. But I will tell you that it's really made a difference. So Gold Zulu, I would recommend. Like, I bought the ebook on Audible, and I sat and I was working on baseball cards one night, and I put it on 1.5 speed, and I listened to it in a night, and it made so much sense. It was something I was willing to try. So that's the thing. So yeah, down 13. Still have, let's call it 40 to go. But I'm hoping at some point, one morning on this stream, you guys are going to jump on and be like, dude, you look like you've lost some weight. I don't need that yet. I'm not looking for any of that stuff yet. But I'm hoping that someday, like, you just have that thought to yourself, like, wow, it looks like that diet's really working for Jeff. So we'll keep going, and yeah, we'll see where we end up. No, rice is a grain, Gold Zulu, but it really limits grains to only breakfast. So there's no grains. There's almost no carbs the further on in your day you get. So like I have hash browns a lot of mornings, which is totally fine as long as they're just potatoes. But you could have rice, you could have oatmeal, any of that kind of stuff is fine within the limited portions that you get. But for lunch, it's only fruit, vegetables, and protein. And for dinner, it's only protein and vegetables. So any kind of basic carb you're going to get is going to happen in the morning, which gives your body the whole day to burn it off. So you're basically not sleeping with carbs. And there's a whole science behind this. The woman that created this was once addicted to a bunch of substances, but then came out of that, thankfully, and became a nutritionist and has really dove into the science of how this stuff works. And I gotta say, it's working. I don't know her actual credentials or how, like, she could be totally lying, and that would be fine. But I know the diet's working. So I've, like I said, 3 weeks in, doing this through at least the rest of the year, but we'll see how it goes. So there was one comment that I saw that I missed, and that was Gold Zulu asking, can I still have a Coke? And no, I cannot still have a Coke. That is most certainly some of the most refined corn syrupy, cane sugary, whatever. You need to be able to stick to their portioning and stuff too, which is reasonable. Most no sugar, no flour. Now, it's not at all costs. The general rule of thumb is if something has sugar in it, but it's further down the ingredients list, it can't be in the first 3 ingredients. Any kind of sugar can't be in the first 3. But the real thing to keep in mind is, like, if you have some sugar, it's okay, but you want to make sure that you're not triggering yourself to go have a bunch of other stuff too. But I think it's really worthwhile to listen to the ebook and to be able, or even to just read it. I thought it was very, very, very useful. And so again, it's just building out some portions and following the system, and it seems to be working. So I'll keep you guys posted. Maybe we'll do like a regular Tuesday update on where we're at with the diet. But yeah, down 13, feeling good. Really almost 14, within a few ounces of 14. Okay. So anyway, that's enough about the diet. Let's get back into this. We were doing some blackjacking. So we're able to deal out the user's hand, and then once we do that in poker, we have to do an evaluator. But how are we going to do? What does evaluation even look like? Because all I'm really telling you is what your cards are, and I don't need an evaluation to do that. So I don't even think I need to do an evaluator. All I really need to do is add up the values of your cards. And the time that it gets weird is that my aces are valued at 14 and not at 1. But that's okay. I think we can manage that. So we're going to need a couple more values. So we're going to need let user count equal user hand zero dot value no it's dot value what I can't remember what I call these. Let's go look at this. Deck is in here somewhere. So I have a name, an ID, and a symbol. So when I create a deck, I have a suit. So it will be .value.id is really what I want. And we want to add that to user hand. This isn't how I should do this. I'm going to have to loop through because I don't know how many cards they'll have. But I guess right now they'll only ever have 2 cards. But I could do this as an evaluator and just return all of this information for me, so I'm not rewriting this in a bunch of places. But for now, this is okay. But we're just going to... Let's add this to the evaluator. Rather than writing it multiple places. Okay. So I have the user count, and then I have to be careful about this because I know what the dealer has, but I'm only supposed to show their second card. So if I'm only showing the second card, that's pretty easy. Let's look at the object that we ultimately want to return. And it looks a little bit like this. I need to save their blackjack hand. Yeah. Okay, so we've got some data work to do here too. So let's go look at our data. Blow this up a little bit. And we're going to need a video poker-like table that has, this is opening hand, closing hand, deck. But what I want is, let's just duplicate this table. And so this is going to be game ID still. This is going to be, we'll just call this user hand. Is that what I want? No, let's keep an opening hand. This might be interesting to see. Opening hand, and then we have closing hand. We'll have one more, which is maybe we do it this way. Opening user hand. And then we could have opening dealer hand. And then we can have closing user hand. And then we'll have closing user hand and closing dealer hand. So this will be closing dealer hand. And then we have the deck. Okay, so what's cool about this is that I will now have a recording of every opening hand you got. So like you started with 12 and the dealer was showing 10. So we can always go back and look at analytics and see how people are playing this stuff. Wow, TeamView just said, Mr. Smoofy, where the heck are you? And then Mr. Smoofy appears. That's a little scary. Okay. That is quite impressive. Are you the same person? Mr. Smoofy and TeamView, are you the same person? Okay. Game ID, user ID, and this game ID is pointing to the same table. All of that is the same. So this shouldn't be called Video Poker Copy. This should be called Blackjack now. And we'll move it up. Over here somewhere, maybe. Okay. So now that we know that we need to do that, we need to get into what does create poker hand look like? That's going to be our next thing, though, is we have, this is going to be create and so this is going to be the game, the user hand, the dealer hand, and the deck, card deck. No. Deal outcome dot deck. And the reason for that is because I've already removed some cards. I don't want to take the original deck. I want to take the deck that has been modified. So now we have game, user hand, dealer hand, and deal outcome dot deck. So now we need to do is create this thing. And so we had create poker hand. Yeah, let's use this as our template. And this is going to be create black jack hand. Okay. All of this looks good. This is going to go in the blackjack table. Game ID. This is now going to be opening user hand. Let's talk about what's coming in here. This is going to be user hand. This is going to be dealer hand. So opening hand, this is going to be user hand. Then we have opening dealer hand. This is going to be dealer hand. And then the deck is going to be the deck. Okay, so we just need to add this to our index. Create, get to be number 1. Const create blackjack hand equals. And then we need to kick it out like that. All right, create blackjack hand now exists, and it looks like it should work. There wasn't a lot that I modified about this, so we're going to just say it works until it doesn't. So now if we look at wager, we've created our blackjack hand. The last step that we want to do is to retrieve our user record. We want to make sure that we have the most up-to-date version of our user, which includes all the wagers and everything else that they have. Good morning, Jan Blank. Good morning. We can close this. Close this. Probably close this. So that gives us our updated user. So the last thing we do down here is we get our result and we return it back to the skill. So our result in this case, I'll uncomment all of this, but we may get rid of some of it again, is this is going to be updated user. Wager is still the wager. I need to pass back that, like, hey, this is what they wagered. The result, this is going to get interesting. This is where I feel like I should probably just create a game object of some kind where I pass in the user hand and the dealer hand and all the information that I need. How do I want to do this? Because it'd be really easy for me to just say user hand and dealer hand and, like, you know, just fill up this object, but I feel like I should maybe combine them. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So we're going to do user hand is user hand, and dealer hand is dealer hand. And then we should probably just put the deck in there too. There is no outcome. And then we're going to return that new thing we just created. Here's the thing I'm pausing on. This is why I'm pensive right now, is I want to, on the Alexa skill side, I want to be able to say, let's say you got an ace and a 4. You have 5 or 15. I need to be able to say that. So I really can't pass the sum out, because if I'm just adding 4 and 1, I'll tell you you have 5. So I feel like just by passing the entire hand out, I can do that math. Is that really where I want to do the math, though? I'm really torn. I don't feel like I don't want the bots themselves to have to figure out this math. But I also don't want to create the speech here. I'm trying not to pass speech between the Chatsino engine. M2, good morning. Man, we got a good crowd on this Monday. Glad everybody's here. Okay, I'm going to do it in the bot. So we're just going to send out the cards as they are. And we'll just kind of go from there. So with that being said, this is mostly done. And we have a test for this. We should probably write some tests for this. But it's more fun to make it work, so we're going to go do that first. So I need we'll use poker as our model. Choose file, save as. We're going to say start blackjack intent. That's a new thing that's going to have to exist. So let's get the plumbing done for this. Blackjack goes there, and blackjack goes down here. And then this index needs to know about start blackjack intent. And then down down here, start blackjack intent. All of that is great. We also need to go into this index file and register it. Start blackjack intent. I haven't actually built that yet, so let's build that. Start poker. Well, start craps, they're all the same. All right. So I think the blackjack stuff is all installed. Start blackjack handler. I probably did wrong down here. Yeah. Okay. So those intents are there. Start blackjack intent. Let's talk about what this does. So we say start blackjack. I need to add something to my to-do list. All of the help messages and make sure you have good coverage. Okay. So this is where I'm going to get your wager. Then we're going to call chatsino.blackjack.wager. Pass in the user and the wager. And then I have this result that gets pumped out. Okay. And then we're going to need to think through... Oh, I just remembered something else we need to do. We still need to do this part. But let's get a game created first, and then we can figure this out. Dense fog until noon today. I don't even think it's foggy outside. Just got a notification that it's dense fog today. Haven't even looked outside yet today. Probably should do that. Okay, so we go through start blackjack intent. We call wager. What is this? Okay, there we go. So let's uncomment this because this is the thing I really care about for right now. It's just seeing the whole result. And then after that, it'll probably break, but that's okay. Maybe we can be better about this. So before draw, this will always be a 4-card deal because we're going to go bup, 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 bup. So 4 cards. And then if there's an outcome, there won't be for this. There will not be like, hey, you're already winning, like we do with video poker. And then we'll say, and this is where the math has to come in. Man, do I really want to do this here? This is where I need to figure out your speech. Take care, Kevin. Thanks for coming by. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is just play the sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to say result dot user hand. Well, I could do, here, let's just do that for now. Result. Do you, yeah, see, I got a couple of things I got to do here. Do you want, why can't I uncapitalize that? Oh, you want to hit, double down, or stand. Okay. Well, now I have a better scope in my head of what the evaluator is going to do. So that's good news. Talk about what outcome looks like here. We need to know things like possible actions. I don't even know how I'm going to do this. But it'll be an array of like bet, double down, split, bet, double down, split, and stand. And so it has to be in, what you say has to match one of those actions, basically. We'll do that on the voice side. What else do I need from this outcome? I mean, I could just create, I'm now passing speech, which is the thing I didn't want to do. Oh man. I didn't want to be passing speech, but I don't know how better to do this. I guess we could do this kind of flipwise. We could do actions. And then in here, we could add actions. And up here, we could do const actions. Okay, and so with actions then, this could look a lot like the position things that we've had in other games. So like if I look at poker position, right, I have these things. Let's just take this whole thing over to actions. And instead of these, though, what I'm going to do is have the possible things that you can do. So we can do const hit, and then we'll just give it a name. I don't really know what else I need for it. $70,000 Blanken points, W. Giorgio. Those are going to be valuable. Hold on to those. You'll be able to turn those into casino points once we get to rebuilding Twitch. That'll be one of the first things that I do is let you cash those things in. It'll probably be in some chunk-wise manner, right? 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever. because I don't think that I get to know. Oh, I don't get to know in the manifest how many points you have. So I'll have to have some increments. Maybe there's a small increment that's like 100 and 1,000 and 5,000 or something, and so yeah, you'll be able to use those points, but you'll only be able to use them once because you'll actually be spending them. I'll take the channel points away from you. You'll cash them in like you do with Hydrate or any of the other stuff. Okay, so I guess we're really just building kind of like an enumeration of potential things. So let's go do some research because I want to make sure I don't miss this. So Wikipedia, these have proved really handy. Blackjack. So let's see. Player decisions. This is what I'm looking for. I called it actions, but decisions. Hit, stand, double down, split, and surrender. That's it. And then we have insurance sometimes, which is another player decision. Okay, so we've got 6 things. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, so we've hit. We have stand. I'm already forgetting. Double down. Split and surrender. Last one was insurance, which goes here. Oh, Corey, there's probably a better way to do this. But this is the way my mind is working today, so. Okay, so actions now exist. Wager now needs to be able to pass out these actions. And that's going to be part of what the evaluator does. You definitely should not make it 35 seconds, TeamView. Definitely not. So I need to do some evaluation, is what we're saying. I don't need this. Evaluator. Yeah, see, I almost want to call this like this, just so we create that object. And then for the evaluator, I can just pass in result. And then this should just be evaluation. Okay. Too many results. I only have the one. I have this thing called result, and then this is me passing it back out. Oh no, I do have too many. You're right. Let's call this something else. Table. Let cards. Thank you for that, by the way. And I feel bad that the first move for me was to doubt you. That's my bad. You totally got that right. Let cards equal this. This is the user hand, the dealer hand, and the deck. And then we'll pass that out as our result. That's fine. Okay, so I have this evaluation. This doesn't do anything yet, but let's make sure that it's... Man, I've opened a lot of files already today. Let's open Evaluator and talk about what this looks like. So this is going to be cards. And we're going to export Evaluator. And we're going to have to return. All we're doing is returning some statuses about the cards. So I don't need to return the cards themselves. What is the evaluator telling me right now? I think in words, I need to be able to return. Let's talk about what we're returning here. User value, and this is going to be a string. Dealer value is going to be a string. And then we need possible actions. This is going to be an array of something. Okay, so now how do we decide this? Well, we're going to need a let dealer. Why? TeamView, I'm not moving money around, so you can keep asking Mr. Smoothie, but I'm not going to be moving money around from people's accounts today. Sorry, bud. You get a coin for every message you post. But there needs to be some risk involved, and if you're not taking any risks because you can just ask people for coins when you run out, then that's no fun. Find your way back. User value, dealer value is not really what I want to call these. User count. Dealer count. Okay. Now, I need to be able to handle the situation where you have many cards. So let's do cards.userHand.forEach. And this is going to be C. What we want to do is do Can't do it this way. Today, is there a keynote today for the Voice Summit? I don't actually know. I didn't think there was. My keynote is tomorrow, yes. For the Voice Summit, conference schedule is loading. This is just going to be like a welcome message for the hackathon. So that starts at 10:45 Eastern time, so probably right about the time I'll stop today. And then tomorrow, there's a welcome from 10 to 10:10, and then from 10:15 to 10:45 is my keynote, and then there's a bunch of other fantastic speakers giving talks the rest of the day. So definitely worthwhile to check that stuff out. Lots of good talks. And then more on Wednesday, more on Thursday, more on Friday. And then even following Tuesday, Wednesday, I think. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. So lots of awesome talks. I plan on spending a lot of time watching these this week. But tomorrow is when it really gets started, unless you're part of their hackathon that's happening here. And this hackathon starts today, but runs through the 15th. Okay. So for my user hand, we basically want if cards.userhand i.value.id, then is user ace is true. God, this gets so tricky. Just because I want to present them with the right information, I need to know whether or not they have an ace in their total. And if they have an ace in their total, then I need to be like, well, if you have less than, if your total is less than 10, counting it as a 1. If your total is less than 11, counting it as a 1. Yeah, there's some good logic in here I need to think through. So this lets me know whether or not they have an ace in their hand. Then we just need to do user count let's do two things here. And cards user hand now we can do user count equals this, and it'll give me an accurate count. No, that's not correct actually. It needs to be plus equals. I do have Lodash in this project, M2. What are you thinking? Or if I actually I may not. Now that I think about it, I may have taken that out. I did at one point. Let's say that. So this allows me to say if there's a user's ace, then I need to set their value to 1, and I need to add them up, and I need to know that the user has an ace. So what this should do, oh, I see, yeah. The thing I struggle with M2 is that I like to write things that are super readable, and I find like the times that I dabble with Lodash, I often lose some of that transparency, even though it does simplify. Okay, so that gets me their count, their total. And then I need to do the same thing. Well, I don't really need to do the same thing for the dealer. I just need to know what their one card is. If I look at deck, and I look at value, okay, take care, M2. Thanks for being here. This is going to be a fun function to write some tests for. So let's think about what I really need to do here. Because I do have this value, which would technically convert the words for me, but that's not going to work for everything. I wonder if there is a npm Is there a built-in way to do this? Convert number to text in JavaScript. I don't think there is. At least not that one I was aware of. I don't want toString. JavaScript numbers to words. Here we go. Number to words. I hadn't used the word words. I'd use string or text. Oh, this is exactly what I need. Let's do it. Awesome. Okay, so in here in evaluator, let's bring in our first dependency. Const, what do we want to call this? Converter, that's fine. Equals number to words. If cards dot dealer hand 1 dot value dot ID, I like doing this backwards. So if it's 14 or 8, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King. So if it's 14 or 8, dot includes okay. If it includes one of those numbers, then our dealer value, which we have not even created yet, let dealer value we can say dealer value equals an and then dealer value here is actually going to equal, now we can just do this straight away. Let's do and then cards dot dealer hand 1 dot value dot name. Value dot name, yeah, okay. Capitalized? No. Value dot name. So this will be like, the dealer value will be like a queen or a king or whatever. But there are two cases where I want it to be an. And so this will change it so it's an 8 or an ace. And so let user value equal nothing. And then right here I can say user value equals, no, we gotta do some, if is, no, is user ace and user count is less than or equal to 11, else and And so this is the wrong brackets. So in this case, the user ace and their count is less than 11. Then I want to say user value equals user count or user count plus 10. Else user value equals just realized I'm going to have to do this for a couple of other things too. The king and the queen are valued at 12 and 13. The jack is 11. All of those need to be basically reset to yeah, those are going to have to be reset to 10s for our count. So user value here is just going to be user count. And then this is where we need to do the converter thing that I didn't actually look at the syntax for. Converter.toWords, where I just pass in that number. My count's not right yet, but we can fix that. But this is basically all I want to do is I just want to convert it to the words, and then we need to do an else if on 13, 12, and 11. Actually, we can do this a simpler way. If it's 14, we set it to true. Then get rid of all this. Then we can do another if. If value is greater than 10. No, I can't do that. So this becomes an else condition now. Else, what? Oh, you're not happy about this. Okay, fine. Else, if the value is greater than 10, then our value equals 10, and then our user count should be right. Okay, we've got only a little bit of time left. Let's write some tests. So let's go do that. Take care, TeamView. This is going to be blackjack.evaluator.test.js. And I don't even really need all this stuff. I just need the evaluator stuff is always easier to write. So this needs to be blackjack. It just occurred to me that this is wrong. Okay, so blackjack evaluator test. We have this, and then we need a test harness here. Okay, so the first one is user has ace ace, dealer shows ace, returns 2 or 12, and ace. Okay, so this, we don't need to await anything. These are much simpler tests. We don't have any of the data stuff. This is blackjack.evaluator. And this is just going to be my object that I created. So we'll need user hand. Oh, I gotta create all those. Ugh. Okay, we'll do that in a second. Dealer hand and deck. So it's going to look something like that. We need to get into Poker Evaluator. Not Roulette Evaluator, Poker Evaluator, because I have some of these in here already. So we'll just take that, and we'll put in our user hand, we have 2 cards. The first one is going to be an ace of hearts. I'm going to simplify down, get rid of all this white space. This is going to require deck. Okay, so that's the first ace. And then the second ace is, let's call it spades. And then the dealer, we'll give them blackjack. Why not? Spades, they got the value 10, but they got an ace showing because that's their second card. And then the deck doesn't really matter, it just has to be there. Okay, so I'm expecting the things that I send out of this are user value, dealer value, and possible actions. So I expect result dot user value to be 2 or 12. I expect dealer value to be an ace. And do I have a status? I don't have a status. Boy, let's see what that gets me. All right, cd test jest blackjack dot evaluator dot test dot js. Failed. Well, that's such a surprise on my very first run. Unexpected token comma. Better? Better. Dealer value is not. Okay. Dealer value. User value. One more time. What? Oh. It's like, what could possibly be wrong there? Why it took me that long to find it? Oh, we're so close. All right, well, this is why we write tests, right? So, where else are we doing this? Where I have a dot. Yeah, I'm using the right function. Okay. So if that array contains cards.dealerhand.value, what in the world is preventing that from happening? So W. Giorgio, the thing that I'm doing here is when we come into my evaluator, I have to figure out what the value you have is. What the dealer has, right? Because what I want to say is, like, you have 2 or 12, and the dealer's showing an ace. I always want to say the name of the card, a king, a queen, or whatever. And so I do this. I say, and then the name of the card that the user has. Not user, dealer has. And then down here I say, if the dealer has an 8 or an ace, then I want you to use an instead. Like an 8, not a 8. And it's somehow coming back as a ace. But I don't know why. Huh. I am, but that's the user stuff. So for the user hand, yes, I'm doing some conversions. But for the dealer thing, I'm not touching the dealer values at all. Those are standalone. Well, I mean, this just seems dumb. I don't even really know that I need to do this. Do I even need to do this? Because I already know, if we come back here to wager, I already know what the dealer hand is, which means I can already tell you what the dealer's position is, right? And all of my properties, I don't think I have it open right now, but all of my, if we go to the deck stuff, all of the objects that I have a property that looks like this called value, and I have the name of the card right here. So one, I could technically write this logic on the skill side. That would be okay. That seems acceptable to me. But two, it would let me get rid of all of this. I don't think I need this. I don't think I'll keep dealer count in here. I'm not even doing anything with it yet. Let's just get rid of it. There is a point in the future where I may want to offer them tips. Like, oh, the dealer is showing 7, so you should do this. The evaluator should probably come up with that logic for you. But I think maybe I can just get rid of all of this. I don't think I even really need it. It's me over-engineering. So if we come to Blackjack Evaluator and we get rid of this test, this is one of those beautiful things where the fewer tests you write, the fewer bugs you find, right? We've made that joke here before. But the thing that I do need is for it to figure out the logic for, like, this. And it looks like that library is working pretty well. I got my 2 or 12. So I don't even really care what the dealer's showing. So let's do another one. User has ace 2. This should return 3 or 13. Oh no, free Kevin. Thank you for the follow. We're doing some fun stuff here. We're building blackjack, but we also have this crazy casino running in the chat. So if you like casino games, this might be the place to hang out. Or 13. But we're also building casino games. So if you're into that, or you're into learning how to write some Node and build some stuff for Alexa, this might be the place to be. You can always check your balance. You can see right below the Chatsino leaderboard here. You can see some commands that you can try, like !balance. That'll let you check your balance and see how many coins you have. You've been assigned some coins already, so it might be worthwhile to see how many you have. And then you can wager those coins using the bet formats that we see there next to try it. Okay, let's try this. What's the chance this one just passes? No. Okay, so why didn't we get back? I know why. No, because I never set it to false. I start with false, and then I loop through the cards, and I say, if any of them are an ace, then we mark this as is user ace. Yeah, Mr. Smoothie, I feel like stats was a command. But I don't remember. History, I think it's history. And don't forget, you can always check other people's history by just tacking their name on the end. All these commands were built to take a parameter for another user if you wanted. Okay, why didn't we get the OR 13? feel very whiny today. Is the user ace, and is the user count less than 11? Well, I certainly think both of those are true. Let's try that again and just see what our values are. Is user ace is false. We're going through each of the cards in the user's hand. For each card, if there is one that is an ace, then we set is user ace to true. And we set the value of that card to 1. Is my test wrong? I have one that's a value of 2, and I have one that's an ace. Certainly seems like that should be doing the right thing. Okay, so in here we do, first thing, is user ace? Boy, it definitely does not think that that's an ace. Okay, so let's see what cards we're actually getting. I don't understand. Unless it shouldn't be allowing me to change the value of the. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Okay. Cards. User hand. Well, Gold Zulu for me, aces are actually 14. It's a long story, but it was much easier when I was doing the poker evaluator. But it wouldn't really matter here. Like string if it wouldn't really matter if it was 1 or 11 or whatever, because like it has multiple values. That's the problem I'm facing, so I'm going to have to go through that anyway. So if we look here, first card, suit is hearts, value is 14. Great. Wow. How is that possible? I'm not even returning cards. This is very bizarre. Oh. I don't need async in there, but I don't think that's the issue. Somehow, on the second test, it still thinks the ID is 1. What? I don't know how that's even possible. This is dumb, but it'll solve it. Okay, I don't really get that at all, unless I completely don't understand the scoping mechanisms inside Node, but I don't see how that could even possibly have happened. Okay, well, my tests are passing, so I guess that's good. Don't need this. I am treating the symptoms, but I don't know why it's doing it. What if I do something weird like ace, ace, 3, 8. This should return 13. Now I gotta actually put those in there though. Ace, ace, 3, 8. It doesn't care at all about suits. Yeah, my naming is not always perfect. Corey, that's a great call. Okay. So let's see what this gets me. This should just return me 13. Can't separate my arrays properly. I'm the worst. Take care, Goldulu. Thanks, man. Oh, they passed. Wow. Ace, ace, 3, 8 returns 13. That's exactly what I would have hoped happened, even with 2 aces in it. Okay. Well, let's keep cranking on the weird ace conditions, and then we can add a couple of others. I don't think I need to test everything, but 5 or 15. 5 or 15. And this can be, come on, ace 4. I mean, these should all work, right? We're following the same pattern. And even if you have, we should try some stuff with kings too. Haven't tried that part of it. So this user has 8 king returns 18 is what it should do. So this will be 8. This will be king. I don't need the others. I really don't need any of this. What? Oh, I see. So I have parentheses, curlies, and then like so. Okay. I think we can just pass that in. Let's see if that gets us 18. And it passed. That came back. User has 8 king, returns 18. Awesome. So that means that the logic that I have for down converting king, queen, and jack to a 10 is working. This feels pretty good. All right, we're at time. So I think this is where we're going to have to stop for today, but I'll be back again tomorrow morning. We can keep cranking on blackjack. We haven't actually heard her say anything yet or actually created a game in the database. But we wrote a lot of logic today. So tomorrow, I think we'll start by trying to build our model and get Alexa to talk to the game so that we can talk to blackjack. Yeah, that's the plan. All right. So with that, we will. Oh, my back. Ow. We will sign off for today. Make sure you go check out the Voice Summit today if you have a chance. Get involved in the hackathon. Do what you can do. And make sure, we're only going to be on for about an hour tomorrow. I'm not going to broadcast at the same time as my keynote there. So we'll do the first hour tomorrow until 10, and then at 10:15 or 10 o'clock is when all the Voice Summit stuff starts. So we will see you tomorrow morning. Bye, everybody.